So you're going to hear the voice of Grandma Iole Martinat Banker, and this is a really great photo of me wearing Grandpa Bob's pilot hat, goggles, and pilot helmet or hat, and pilot goggles up there. This Robert Lemuel Banker, Bob. Born in Iowa, from Des Moines, Iowa, Truro, a little town called Truro. And I visited his cousins there, Herb and Harry Reed, on their farm, drove a tractor around. Grandpa kind of had bushy eyebrows. Yeah, it's a great picture. Okay, so here's Grandma Iole's voice.
We say spino for yawn. How do you say? Spino. Real slow. Spino.
This is her dialect, her Prustinank dialect.
Yawn, huh?
That's a yawn.
Spino. Well, say what you said.
Oh, I was just saying how I'm cutting, I get a Christmas card from somebody, and instead of just throwing it away after I enjoy reading it, I cut there's like a front part that has a picture or something, and then they write on the other side when you open it up. So if I cut the picture part, I can, have like a little postcard Christmas card, So I was thinking, well, that's great, but who am I going to give these to? I can't exactly send out.
Well, it would save paper, good for the environment, to reuse cards, especially between family members. And it's kind of interesting to reread really old cards that, you wrote to other people or other people wrote to you from a long time ago or from just a little while ago, and then give those cards to family members and, write something extra and something special for them on the card. But then the other family member you give it to gets to read not only your message for them, but also the message that somebody else wrote to you before you gave it to them. So I still think that's a good idea and would like to do that someday if I ever have kids.
Half a Christmas card to somebody. So I was thinking, well, I'll just give it to my kids when they grow up, because they'll understand I'm kind of weird,
And I said, man, what? Your kids are going to be so screwed up.
With a screwed up mother like me.
What about it?
It's kind of hard to concentrate and fix dinner at the same time, but I can do it. I can try it.
Just give me the basics. World War II, you were in Nashville, Tennessee.
Yeah, because Bob was graduating from Air Force Academy, from the Air Force. And I went there for his graduation.
Mm-hmm.
And so that was at Christmas time,
Mm-hmm.
and the Battle of the Bulge. And
You want to sit down a second?
no, I want to fix dinner.
Okay.
So I don't have to cook all night.
Grandma was an excellent cook, and she cooked so many nice dinners for her family, for Bob, and for her children. Even when the children were growing up, she'd make really nice dinners, and she cooked for her parents some too. She told me so many times that she regretted not inviting her parents over more for dinner, and she did much more than most people do to invite their parents over for dinner. But sometimes she'd drive, or both her parents, Dante and Ida, down to USC so that Iola's son, Ida and Dante's grandson, Jack, who was learning to be a dentist, could do work on their teeth for credits because he needed to show so many hours or so many procedures and everything. So, they were kind of like the guinea pigs that, had him work on their teeth. And that was a long drive for Grandma Iole to drive them down there and back with traffic and everything. And but then her parents would just go home and to their own little house right next door to Grandma Iole's. And she remembers her dad would ask her mom, what's for dinner? What is there to eat? And Grandma Iole thought, oh, I should have made them dinner, a nice dinner then. But and she made a lot of great dinners with me too when we used to go to Howie's market, and a cute little independent market in San Gabriel. And we went to Taylor's Market in Sierra Madre a little bit, but mostly Howie's Market in San Gabriel. And, got all the ingredients and brought them home and unpacked them and made, her fancy involved dinners, like really good minestrone soup, several different types of that one, the twice boiled one, but then also an even more involved one that was a little bit darker and richer and heavier.
And so I was in Memphis, and then Bob was in the Ferry Command.
What's that?
And that's when he delivered airplanes all over the world.
Oh, yeah.
So that's what that was called, the Ferry Command. I knew he delivered airplanes all over the world. I think he flew over the Himalayas and delivered planes in South America and everything, but it was called the Ferry Command.
I think the potatoes are done, don't you?
I don't know.
They look kind of crisp.
Let me get my knife and check.
How do you tell if the potatoes are done?
I don't know.
You don't know?
I don't know.
How long do you cook it? About
an hour.
You cooked it an hour?
Mm-hmm.
In the oven?
In the oven.
At what temperature?
I think it should be only 375, but I got it 400.
Well, that knife went in pretty easily.
Yeah, so I turn it down.
The knife went in easily, so it's
Turn
probably
it down
done.
to 350.
350 for a couple more minutes?
Yeah, until I get the fish ready.
Okay.
And he was in the Ferry Command and part of the Air Force, and so that means just as we got there, or just as soon as he graduated, then he had a trip, and I think it was to Hawaii. He had to deliver a plane to, what do you want, the light on? He had to deliver a plane to Hawaii.
Well, this was,
Yeah.
after Pearl Harbor.
Oh, sure.
Yeah, okay.
In the meantime, the Germans were marching all over Europe, and they wanted to get into France.
Mm-hmm.
They were already in France, but they wanted Paris.
Yeah.
And
The refrigerator.
that's not good for you.
Could have freeze the mechanism.
Family had apparently it was a very, very, rich family in the days when it was good, rich, I mean, it was a fancy, old-fashioned, but, one of the mansions type. So they were renting out rooms, and I had for the war effort, and I don't want any more of this. And I had
It's kind of good, though.
I don't want it. You want it?
Never mind.
Too late now. I had a sitting room and a bedroom and a bath. That was my quarters,
in the
part
big
of the house.
in the big
And they were
mansion.
very nice to me. This was in 1945, before Jack was born, the Christmas before Jack was born. And the Nazis were marching through, getting closer and closer to Paris, which they wanted to occupy. And but it happened, and everybody was just really very worried because they thought any time now they was going to walk in and capture Paris. And we were trying to stop them, but we couldn't see exactly where they were because the fog was so dense. And in those days, they didn't have the instruments that they have now to fly, you know. So they would send reconnaissance plane, like the plane Grandpa had, just a very small plane that would go under the, I forget what they call it, but their surveillance, they had they could tell where the airplanes were, but if you flew under
like under the radar or something.
right, their surveillance, they had they could tell where the airplanes were, but if you flew under this net, like, that wasn't really a net, but it was, anyhow, now just a minute. So every day the news, because I didn't have a paper, I just had the news, and all our news was very late, you know, it wasn't up-to-date news, but it was not good. It was very bad. And, it was just a matter of time till the Germans would occupy Paris. And once they occupied Paris, that was going to be very bad news because then they had a stronghold on all of Europe. Bring a half a cup of water to boil. Just a minute. I tell you, I was so scared, and I was far away from home, and by myself.
Grandpa was already gone.
He was gone.
So why would you stay there?
Well, the transportation was very, very bad, and so.
You thought you'd stay till you get back.
Yeah, and then I don't know. I was hoping that maybe we had a car. No, we didn't have a car. I thought maybe he could come home with me or something. I don't know. And I was almost thinking about renting an airplane and come home, but that wouldn't do any good. I mean, I couldn't afford that. So I was stuck there. And so the news was so bad that I was sure it was just a matter of time, just, maybe a week or so, that the Germans would occupy France. And once they occupied France, then they could easily go over to England and get England. And if they got England, there was bad news for us. So I was thinking about getting a little German flag and putting it under my bed. So if the Germans came to America, I could show them, see, I was for you guys. Of course, I really wasn't, but, I was so scared. And, no, I'll read it. I got it. I'm going to check it. Take this one more time. Okay. So, what was making it so difficult for us was we didn't know where they were exactly. And it was they were in the Boulogne forest. I think it's called the Boulogne forest. And the fog was so thick that we couldn't see them. So we didn't know exactly where they were. And So, of course, everybody was praying that the fog would soon lift. And every day it just kept getting thicker and thicker and thicker. And I kept getting more scared and more scared. And so then, happily, one day the fog lifted. And we saw where they were.
And that's my favorite little stuffed animal when I was very little, my blue ducky. And I lost it at the Velvet Turtle on Huntington there in Arcadia when it was the Velvet Turtle before it became the Embassy Suites. And I think it's because I think I lost it because I ordered a salad, or a salad came with my meal. I probably didn't order it because I'm not very fond of salads, but it probably came with my meal, a salad, and there was a grasshopper in the salad. And I said, there's a grasshopper in my salad, but I was just a little kid, so somebody thought I was just joking or, not telling the truth, But then, I finally showed them, see, there's the grasshopper jumping around. And so the restaurant gave me a complimentary meal or something. But I think maybe in all that chaos of, the grasshopper and this and that, somehow I lost my little blue ducky. And Grandma Iole and her mom Ida, I think they spent hours and hours looking, through different little kids' stores to see if they could find a similar stuffed animal. It was kind of a little blue duck like that, and I think they brought me back different options that were kind of, somewhat similar, but I always knew that wasn't my blue ducky, and I don't think I liked any of them. But that's really nice that they looked for me. And I think they also, maybe I think it was Ida here that wanted to find me a little Miss Piggy stuffed animal. I'm not sure. I don't think I necessarily said I wanted it or anything, but they were just, determined to get me a little piggy stuffed animal. And I don't know if they got one or not, but it was nice. They took an interest and tried to get something I might like. Okay, back to the story. Let's see here.
It just kept getting thicker and thicker and thicker.
The fog.
And I kept getting more scared and more scared. And so then, happily, one day the fog lifted, and we saw where they were. And so we went in, and we stopped them, which of course saved our lives.
Stopped them from taking Paris.
That I think that was truly the turning point of World War II. Mm-hmm. And so, of course, everybody was really jubilant. I got rid of my flag. It was during segregation. Uh-huh. I don't want you to write every day or go. I didn't have a library, a book, but they had rental books where you could go to the store and rent a book for, I don't know, 3 to 5 cents a day or something like that. Mm-hmm. And I'd read a lot of books because I didn't want to be out alone at night. Yeah. I did that, and then this family.
Yeah, Grandma was a really good reader. I mean, she would read really fast, a lot of novels and love stories. I don't know how she ever skimmed and got through a book so fast in, a matter of a week or two. And I know we were kind of always buying new books for her. But for me, I'm such a slow reader. I could just never understand how she could read so fast. Let's see here.
I'd read a lot of books because I didn't want to be out alone at night. Yeah. I did that. And then this family was really nice to me over Christmas. They invited me to their house for Christmas dinner, which was very nice. Oh, wow. And then they took me to see, what's his name? They knew that I liked the violin. And, wait, did I put my fish in? Oh, no, I didn't put my fish in. And so they took me to this, oh, God, what was his name? He just passed away recently, but I should know his name.
Like a violin concert?
Well, yeah, And they took me to see him.
Well, that was really nice.
It was very, very nice. They were so nice to me.
Well, you all
treated me like one of their families. And what was kind of interesting about this family was that they had several children. And I guess they were, I don't know if they were living at home or just exactly where they were. Every night, they would congregate in the mother's sitting room. She had sort of another room like I had, a sitting room and a bedroom.
How old were her kids at this time?
Well, they were probably 20, 25 or so, girls.
Yeah.
And I guess the boys were in the army. And they would congregate, and then they would, and we don't have that anymore here.
They just congregate.
Yeah, every night they'd have cocktails.
Oh, they had cocktails. Ah, and they invited you maybe one.
And they invited me several times. And they would, everybody would contribute what they had done during the day. And which I thought was really, really nice.
Very nice.
Very nice. And that was fun. But of course, Lonnie was here in California with my mom and dad because I hadn't really been planned to stay so long away. And I couldn't get home.
Did you mean you dropped that in?
Huh?
Nothing.
And so I remember they invited me to Christmas dinner, and it was but like I say, every night we would congregate in the mother's room, and like a social hour.
Yeah, that's really
but with the family, and I thought to myself at the time, I thought, that was such a nice custom because that seemed to make the family very close by sharing their experiences with the rest of the family.
Yeah, like appetizers or something.
Yeah,
not so time.
Exactly right. Exactly, and they did it every night.
Very nice.
And
were you already expecting Uncle John?
yes, he was going to be born very shortly, and I knew I had to get home.
Why?
Well, I wanted to have my baby in not some strange place. I wanted to have my baby with home, where Aunt Lonnie was, because she was almost 3.
Oh my gosh. Jeez.
Oh, so in that other photo, I just wanted to say, looks like I got a ice cream pie cake for my birthday or something, or somebody's. I'm not sure what the number is on there, but I always love those ice cream cakes the best, and I guess they started me on it pretty early. I didn't know I had one when I was quite so young. And this is at 9863. The oven was different back then. The oven I have right now is really noisy. It growls a lot. And I broke the knob, so now I used the knob from the stove, one burner that wasn't working, so now number 4 is off. I mean, like, to turn the oven off, I turn it to number 4 on my little makeshift knob.